Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bradley Blows, author of Euphoria Boats, based on author's true story. Scene 5, action. When he recruited us all, he noticed we were trying to get a look at his face that's always beneath his Dick Tracy looking mobster hat. Mr. M told us, "You're not sure if I look Italian, Cuban, African, Caucasian, or Asian invasion, because if you remember my face, you will die." Dan the van driver hitting gas, complaining, "These doggone police seats bite." We hear background music turning up. The fun-loving criminals running around, robbing banks, all whacked off of Scooby snacks. I hurt my lower lumbar, we'll never get far riding around in a stolen police car. So we dropped it off and hailed in the caddy. Horse, speaking in English accent, I've got a jolly good story. When I was working construction close to the Mohican border, Border patrolmen would pull me over all the time and I wouldn't pay it no mind. This one particular time I was going to lunch as usual. I get pulled over. This time the patrol was a Caucasian. Border patrol woman says, "Where's your license?" Hoarse Mexican accent. "Like Cheech said, isn't it on the back of the car?" Border patrol woman laughing, "Ha ha. Because you made me laugh, I don't care if you're legal or not. As long as you can speak perfect English, I'll let you go." Horse wobbly jokes. The perfect English are the ones who should be called wetbacks. "Y'all swam all the way here from England." Border patrol woman seriously commands, "Now you want to be a wise guy, huh? Step out of the coche." Dog just sits there checking her out, so he didn't even hear her yelling. Border patrolman more sternly now, "Step out of the car." Horse whines. So she yanks me out. So I says, "You know a little bit of Mexican judo?" I caught the border patrolwoman off guard because she freezes. Border patrolwoman acts puzzled, asks, "Mexican judo?" Horse continues, "You don't know if I got a knife?" Without laughing, we see the border woman frisk him reach into his right pocket to pull out his wallet that contained his license. Then as the border girl reaches into his left pocket, Horse laughs, "Or you don't know if I got a gun?" The border patrol woman pulls out his other wallet. Border patrol woman reads his license, questioning, "Mr. Hahn, why do you have two wallets?" Horse simply states, "That one has my passport. If I lose one, I still have identification in the other." Border patrol woman reads his passport, extrapolating, "Luke Walker, you're Mexican and Asian?" Horse delivers with Mexican accent, "Cheech's friend Chong is Asian. You're clueless, Mrs. Peacock. I'm Caucasian with a tan. I just look Mexican sometimes, like traditional pictures of our Lord Jesus Christ." Mr. Monopoly, sternly like a night thief, "This conversation is over." The Iron Claudio, as usual, activates the chauffeur automatic center window, as well as the rear side windows, directing the rear passenger's attention inwards. Eve Thimble points to the one in the passenger seat. "Gun shy, whatever." While the windows close from outside sounds, Thimble sighs shyly, often simultaneously pointing to the center glass that now hides shoe riding permanent shotgun. Car. Continues Thimble's thinking. "She's the one, she's the one." Dog finishing familiar story. "She was the only one who ever rides shotgun to the hideout and later tells us that he would blindfold her, then quickly changes the subject." Thimble sits up straight as if on the witness stand. "Isn't it funny how Mr. Mono always deals with the Iron Claudio firsthand? Iron is the tool usually used by second in command shotgun Shoe. I don't think Claudio was trying to iron out Shoe. She'd walk all over him. We'd better be nice to her, otherwise we could wind up beneath her feet as well." Dog pointing to the driver. "It's like a game of rock, paper, scissors with Mr. M. He's ironing out the wrinkles of horseplay and the plans to be shoed. And we are the wrinkles." Thimble is physically relieved from the witness stand, but has a quizzical look, trying to figure out their solution to the plan Dog is barking about. Eve Thimble yelling, "That's what," Dog cutting in, "makes us certain about who is really in control here." Eve Thimble deducts, "Irrelevant, Your Honor. Move to strike that from the record." Dog leans over into Thimble's face, kisses her while reaching into her bag, pulling out a familiar tabloid newspaper. Now, in ultra slow motion, he rolls it up with his left hand, while his right hand's thumb zips a silver World War II Zippo lighter's roller, scratches flint, sparking fluid, sounding like a gas fireplace, lighting a flame, engulfing an inquirer in tabloids, Dog to Thimble. Does that answer your question? She knew that her question was answered and that she didn't need to respond, merely pretending to relieve herself from the witness stand. In other words, walking on eggshells ceased to exist via forgiveness. Horse and hat bang on the chauffeur center window, rambling on about opening the moonroof or any other window to get rid of the smoking and get a look at where they are going. As usual, the loudspeaker comes on with shouting words. Mr. Monopoly radio voiceover. No dice. Stomp out the fire because the only oxygen you are going to get is from the air conditioner. Dog begins to shake uncontrollably with half his Chinese and half his African descent, as if his ancestors are about to catapult him through the moonroof. Dog throws his most powerful twisting punch through glass moonroof, shattering it. Yo! We expect the punch from Dog less than we expect him to burn the tabloid. Nevertheless, they laugh at Dog giving the throw to fired papers through the roof, exposing the burning tabloids to the streets. Dog realizes everyone laughing. I liked being laughed at to learn to laugh with. Now laugh with them while squeezing in the moral. Ha ha. You know what I'm saying? The tabloids are going down. 5 minutes later, in a movie room that could only be described as the one in Hearst Castle, they were served the usual Java chip frappuccinos while they were going over tons of slides and clips of their upcoming missions. Of course, Mr. Monopoly wouldn't be in the room until all of a sudden the lights would go out, and lo and behold, Mr. M would turn on the projector from the rear. They discussed the usual free parking money intermediaries. Hat's job was to coordinate the armored cars to Covenant houses, always giving them at least half, sometimes more. Mr. Monopoly Hat elicits usual classroom Rico Suave eulogy deja vu. Everybody sit up straight. What do you think this is, the movies? Do you want some buttered popcorn? No lounging around. Sit up straight. I know y'all aren't too broke to pay attention. The login code that unlocks the Federal Reserve safety deposit box is sometimes RIUFIUI. Yes, it sounds like what those guys took on the roof of the Vegas hotel in that hangover movie. However, don't go down that road or you will lose. This login code will be one of the 7 stages of solving the Rubik's Cube. Hopefully it will be the first or second easiest stages that most ordinary people can solve anyway, without even knowing what RIUFIUI stands for. Ordinary people are what the Lord loves most because God made so many ordinary people. We will know which login code opens the vault according to how much of what side or sides of the cube are completed, which is always sitting on the bank president's desk. We will be able to see it from our sniper scopes across the street. Unfortunately, you're not going to know exactly what username to enter either. However, it is always something from the Holy Bible's Book of the Romans Road. Memorize the religious stages of the Rubik's Cube. Meditate on the words of the Romans Road. Take them to heart. Pray realizing God is Jesus Christ. We will unlock the solution, relationship, treasures in heaven. Now get to work. Meanwhile, we glance at wall poster. Death is not a penalty. That depicts the demeanor of FBI agent Al Gleam's puzzling look. Tapping his pen to desk, he yanks his cellular from the trench coat to speed dial his sidekick agent. Gwen Glitter answering phone. Gwen. Al Gleam gets to the point. Gwen, the factual theory will be that there is some sort of magician cult. Gwen states, I'm at the medical center right now. Al Gleam, I'm going to check the only certified hypnosis institute in the world to see if we'll stumble onto any leads to the magician theory, which is that in order for these banks not to have any recollection, remembering being robbed until after the getaways, is that they must have been put under a deep trance with very sticky post-hypnotic suggestion. Gwen, we'll meet later. Al, after Med Center, we'll work down for dinner. Say Spago's at 7-ish. Gwen, spa goes on law enforcement salaries? Maybe if we were lawyers. Al, oh, Gwen, we're always making excuses to work around the clock, never taking much vacation, so I'm scheduling one. Besides, after we nail this case, the book deals are going to pour in like appearances on Helen DeGenerate and Portia de Rossi found face down in Ricky Lake. Gwen sighs, laughing, compromising workaholic ethic. Al, besides, dinner's on me anyway. Gwen immediately changing tone to funny case of the giggles approval. Ha ha ha. Well, why didn't you say so? They both hang phones, dedicating themselves to their love of problem solving. 1994, Tarzana, California Hypnosis Motivation Bunch. Mr. Gleam arrives at the Hypnosis Motivation Institute in Tarzana. We see him speak with the founder, CHT John Greek, and his wife, CHT Carol Henderson Greek, also known as Florence Bradley, whom graduated from that 70s Bradley Bunch TV show. The director of their son, CHT George Greek, hands Gleam a directory binder of staff therapists and a director's RX prescription card that reads CHT Michelle Chushi. Their appointment was magically signed into the binder in the waiting room. A few minutes into sitting and reading the directory binder, Gleam is interested in one of the youngest therapists on staff, a pretty enthusiastic Alaskan woman. He whispers her initials, CHTMC. While waiting patiently for the appointment, pretending to read a magazine, Gleam unsuspectingly examines the others. CHT Michelle Chushi enters waiting room. Might you be Mr. Gleam? Gleam casts a suspecting glance on her while setting the magazine aside, standing out, stretching his hand to shake hers. Al. Call me Al. CHT Chushi, laughing. Likewise, I mean, call me M. Follow me to my office and we'll get started. He follows her to her office as he peripherally notices her voluptuous figure, looks up and seems to silently ask for forgiveness. She shuts the door behind them, then sits behind her desk while Gleam realizes that he has two choices of where to sit. Al chooses the leather lazy boy instead of the wooden dinner chair. And Al, our director George Greek informed me of your meeting. Any leads? Al, only that the amount of time it would take to cover up the heist make it appear to have occurred through supernatural means, probably from one of your practicing hypnotherapists. And correct me if I'm wrong, you think the hypnotherapist you're looking for graduated from this school, however, is not publicly advertising his or her practice? Oh, yes. Now I'm aware that each of your students becomes a client for 3 sessions as part of their certification with either you or someone else on staff. I was asking each therapist on staff if they can recall any one particular student client who could be capable of sleeping conscious minds while accessing subconscious minds. And sarcastically defensive. Any one of our graduating students and previous alumni could be capable, including me. Al, whomever is doing this is a hero. Why do you want to stop them? Al replies in lazy boy. Us, them, is that 2 people or more? Conspiracy, maybe? In all seriousness, I don't want to stop them, but the media coverage needs to stop over this because it's fueling some bloody copycats who use real guns that kill. While continuing her initiative gaze on Al, G, M attempts to reassure him. M, I feel as though I understand. I'll tell you what, let's go across the hall to the student center. We will locate the necessary files we need, and I'll get you one of my cards so we can keep in touch. Al sits up, blinking his eyes, steering his gaze from the ceiling to M as he puts the recliner in the upright position, and with both hands swipes over his eyes as if to open them wider and swipes back his hair. We hear a tone-low drum solo in the background. Al, let's do it. They both stand up at the same time, and as M walks over to the still weary Mr. Gleam, she swipes one of her business cards off the front desk and hands it to him. Al, accepting the business card. Thank you for your time. Gleam builds composure while M puts one arm around him, walking him out of the office, through the waiting room, past the reception desk office, and across the hall to the student center. They both look through the files and gather all possible approaches to Al's theory. M, glancing at her watch. I'm meeting with the client in a few minutes. Go ahead and take what you need and call me. Al copying all the pertinent files they gathered. This is everything here, so I'm gone. They walk out towards the hall. Al continues. I'll get these back to you in a couple of days, so keep in touch. Al stands still when he notices a different exit. He speculates that this is probably the student doorway. M turns and walks backwards. Mr. Gleam, that's not why I gave you my card. Al walks, glancing back and forth to the hypnotherapy session. And that is the end of this scene.